Conversate for a few.
Welcome to the next episode of Conversate for a Few. I'm Jonna.
I'm Allan. This is not a podcast about classical music.
Absolutely is not. This is a podcast about hip hop. What we doing today, bruh?
Discussing the myth of the starving artist, but it's a special episode because we really kind of have passed it a little bit in a few days, but it's the third, 3-year anniversary of us starting this podcast, which ironically, the topic we covering today is what led to the development of the podcast in the beginning.
Yo, that's the most ironic thing because we decided to do this episode based on how the last conversation ended, right?
Right.
We realized that during the month of July is when this podcast started, so we needed to get to our third anniversary episode. It just so happened that they aligned. That the conversation that we was on the phone for 3 hours that 3 years ago, that sparked this whole journey that we've been on, ended up being the conversation we revisit for the third anniversary.
Yeah,
I mean, it's dope. That's dope. That's just apropos for how things work for us, though, for real.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh man, so the myth of the starving artist. Do we want to even inform the people how, like, what we was talking about the first day, like that first conversation?
Yes. Go ahead. I think we should,
especially like
because it shifted recently. I'm gonna credit you with finding out a new understanding of the myth of the starving artist, where it came from. But we can go back to the original.
Well, it's funny because it's like, how far have we fallen?
Yeah.
From who we were talking about at the time that started this conversation. I mean, just to stop teasing, like, we was talking about Kanye.
Yeah.
And this was in the midst of his Houseway rant, right?
Yeah.
And he was running around talking about how the Medici used to fund, was it Da Vinci or was it I can't remember which one.
Da Vinci.
Michelangelo. One of them great artists.
Right.
One of the wealthy families at the time used to fund them so that they could create art. And he was saying that that's the same thing that needs to happen now. Like, and I was saying, I don't know that that's not true. You see what I'm saying? Like, if you want great art to persist, you'll fund great art.
Yeah.
Like, you'll fund the museums, you'll fund art in school, you'll make sure. But I don't think, my personal opinion, I don't think the powers that be want the arts to be as powerful and as strong. And I think it's my thoughts then was it was to their advantage to keep the artists starving.
Yeah.
Through our conversations, we found a few more reasons why it might be to their advantage to keep the artists starving. But
right.
But that's what we was talking about. We was talking about Kanye, and I was kind of caping for Kanye. It's hard to cape for Kanye now, at all.
Oh no, yeah. He makes Kanye makes it very difficult for you to cape for him.
Yeah, I don't even know if, I mean, the funny thing is I do think he was right in that point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he was right there. I think I just, again, and we've expressed this a couple times over different episodes, I feel like he needs to have his rants in private with a person that can decipher and articulate what he's trying to say without the rant, without his emotions. Because if you can distill what he's trying to say, not recently, not in the last year and a half, it's like it took a sharp. It was taking a left in, but it's not what we're here to talk about. We're not here to talk about Kanye. But if there was a point in time where if you were to distill what he was trying to say, and really find an eloquent way to express it. A lot of times there was some good information there. like I said, not so much anymore. But anyway, that's how we got. That was the conversation that prompted 3 years of conversations.
Right. Yeah. The myth of the starving artist.
Yeah, the myth of the
And
starving. So talk to
and
me.
and so recently, so now that was pretty accurate. That was a pretty accurate recall. But recently, we wanted to revisit this, right? Because of well, I think it was fueled by the talk that Russ had with Steve Stout, wasn't it?
You know what? Yeah, and yes, and it was fueled by Migos' current situation with QC.
Yeah. Yes.
Uh,
Another part.
you know, that got my wheels turning. And then I watched the Steve Stout and Russ conversation,
Mm-hmm.
and that threw gas on it. You know,
Mm-hmm.
but you could almost speak to any artist situation that we know of that has complained about their deal, and I'm talking about going back to the 50s, 60s, 40s, whatever, and they all complain about not getting their dough, but
Right.
getting the rewards the everyday rewards that they would seek. You see what I'm saying? Up front, but
Mm-hmm.
not getting any real uh how do you want equity?
Yeah.
You know,
True.
so it's not a new thing. So the industry has been starving artists forever, and it seems like that would be the opposite. The industry is where you go to get your money, the way you go to get the fame and the
Mm-hmm.
stardom and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah. So all of this, right? with- And we may be, I don't know, we maybe get some backlash for it, but we kind of came to looking at it from a different perspective, just another way to look at the whole um, starving artist paradigm between the label and the
uh-huh.
artist. Like artists should get paid, right? And they should get the
Right,
right kind of pay, fully paid for their work and their contributions.
right.
We're not saying that the labels should be, um, metaphorically raping the artist, you know what I mean? But we talked about is there any genius psychology in keeping the artist reaching for more? Because I'm saying that because we talked about when money get filled, when money really starts, when the music industry, which it was always, primarily motivated by money, but when the music business became business music,
Mm-hmm.
basically when money get introduced, it corrupts the creative space that artists generally was working out of, which originally got them the deal.
Right.
Meaning we was getting better, more authentic work generally from artists. This is not for everyone, but a high 90% for most of the artists when they was didn't have much, when they was in a starving, quote unquote, starving state. We was getting when they was going through pain, when they was going through struggle, when they didn't have not the best music from them.
This is true.
So we were saying and so we were just saying, was that is that a psychological methodology by the industry to keep the artists wanting or in a state of reaching for more? Because if they just gave them everything at all at once, or all that they think they deserve, and we've seen this how artists drop one album, it'd be good,
Right.
then the next album you wonder what happened. They off living a lavish life, they don't even have the same drive that they once had, meaning the hunger. And we all know that, and all artists have talked about this, the honest ones, how the hunger,
Mm-hmm.
after getting so much of what they originally wanted, the hunger dies, and also the creativity or the quality of music that we're getting from them dies. So we was just saying, not is starving the artist a good thing, but if there was any benefit, if there's any creative benefit or justification to
Okay, okay.
quote unquote starving
I
artists.
I understand, and that's and I think there would be benefit. I think there ends up being benefit by proxy, right?
Okay.
I think there ends up being benefit because the artist actually does end up in a situation where they need. Well, it could go both ways.
Yeah.
It could
Yeah.
go both ways. If you put yourself in a position, right, to as an artist, to gain from it, to make a living from it, and then you realize that all your blood, sweat, and tears only ended up with the label making all of the money, and you having pennies at the end.
Right.
You still have a record contract. You still have the opportunity to make music, but
Mhm.
under those circumstances, that I don't know that every artist is going to have the fervor to return to bat and take the best swing after going through that type of betrayal. You see
Yeah.
what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I understand that.
Some of them will. Now, the ones that will are the ones that continue to create, and we gain creativity by proxy. And I only say by proxy because I don't think the label's intent on stealing from the artist is to spark creativity.
Oh, absolutely. And
If it if they were withholding, and like we said on the end of the last podcast, right? If they
uh
were finding a healthy way to
yes.
incentivize greater creativity, or more prolonged creativity, if it was a healthy way, if it wasn't them stealing points, and you know
Yeah.
what I'm
Yeah. Yeah.
saying,
Yeah.
and putting them in
Yeah.
bad deals and giving them
Right.
gifts, and just so that the smoke and mirrors that labels have
Yeah.
done throughout the history of labels. If they were doing it with the right intent, then I think yes, you could probably get a good return.
Yeah.
But I,
Yeah.
I I don't think most of them are doing it from there. I can't say
Oh
100%,
no.
but I could
Yeah. Yeah.
say
Yeah.
I could
I don't.
say 99. I don't believe 99% of them are doing it from a place of let's keep them creative. I think
Oh no. Of course, it's robbery.
it's robbery.
Yeah, it's highway and interstate
For
robbery.
sure. Yeah, for sure. International sometimes too.
Right. And so, but you brought up a good word, but but there should be a way because I remember in the last podcast we was using, or I don't know if it was you or me that brought up just the example of like the children.
Mm-hmm.
If you give a child everything they want, you spoil them.
Right.
You know what I mean? And you can spoil rotten. Like it would be better to give them, what they need, but like give them incentives to keep striving for more and not
Right.
just give it all to them because you give it all to them, then what do they have to look for? What incentive do they have to keep growing? And
Right.
see, and I think that's the thing. The label should do something, create some type of incentive initiative that would keep the artists wanting to grow in their art form and master their craft.
Yeah. Well, the label should start off by ensuring that they sign artists that want to grow and have
Yeah,
the
that's true.
ability to grow. So we're talking about the business
Yeah,
music. So
right.
this is almost
Yeah,
like fantasy football.
yeah,
You know what I
absolutely.
mean? Like
Yeah,
this ain't even a real world that we talking about. It is, but it's not. You see what I'm saying?
yeah.
It's only a real world for a certain type of artist.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So your pop smokes, not your pop smokes, but your perp smoke or whatever, Lil Perp, and
Yeah.
but these guys, Pumps and Peeps, and these dudes, we ain't talking about them. You see what I'm saying? So if you the label that's rushing to sign that, then you probably the label that's you faster to give them the gift and
Yeah.
keep the publishing.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
But where do you? Oh, so let's say this: from what you heard from Russ, the interview, which was a great interview Russ had with Steve Stout. Steve Stout, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, okay, so what he had with Steve Stout, and then you looked at other interviews from that program that he had.
Yeah.
So my question, so where do we stand today? Like, how do you see it, the myth of the starving artist today?
Man,
Is it a myth or is it reality?
no, there's a reality to it. There's a no, I mean I lived it. There's no you understand what I'm saying? Like you can't tell me it's not true.
Right.
I mean, it's not just a myth. I put it to you that way. What I got from the conversation with Steve Stout and Russ, and kind of the other conversations that I've seen on that whole conference, is to be an artist, a good artist. There's a certain level of hunger that you have to have. Everybody uses that word, right? Everybody. It's cliche to use that word. Hold on one second.
Yeah.
But the word that's more indicative of what you need, because hunger is not enough. It's starvation.
Yeah, which is
you understand what I'm saying? Like
yeah.
you need it to keep going.
Right now, and Russ, I'm glad you brought that up because you know this is going to tie into our conversation with Mez.
True.
And I think Mez was having a conversation with Cole, and they were both agreeing like you got to be like willing to go the distance. You almost got to be crazy.
Yeah.
Delusional when you're chasing the dream to make it happen. And Russ talked about that too, how he grinded so hard and how he it didn't, he was like pressing forward regardless of whatever the world had to say.
Right.
Like if people wasn't, naysayers and people wasn't, for him or helping him or whatever, it just pressed it on. He was just saying you have to believe in yourself enough to be able to withstand, the opposition that's essentially going to come.
Yeah, that's a fact. And one thing,
I'm sorry, real quick. I'm only bringing that point up in contrast to the conversation that Mez had mentioned having with Cole and how they kind of said the same thing, is because all the ones that said that have been the one to break through and be successful as artists.
Right. That's
so
true.
letting you know the mindset to be successful at what you're trying to do.
Right.
If you're not thinking like that, then you won't.
Then you're not gonna make it. If you're not delusional enough to believe that you're gonna make it, then you won't.
Right.
Period. You won't even work hard enough to make it if you're not delusional to believe that the work
is
going to turn out.
Delusional, but they work match.
Yeah, you got to. You got
their big dreams.
Yeah.
Their work ethic match. That's why Russ had so much work done.
Yeah, exactly. Because he was putting in the work.
Yeah.
The catch is though, one thing that we was talking about in this situation is the artist not getting their due. Right? So when they do get their due, I kind of, the analogy I like to, not even like to, that popped in my head was how hard it was for Jordan to even consider chasing another ring.
Yeah.
Because once you get to the mountaintop, it's what's the next challenge? It seems like inherently in hip hop, the challenge would be to be the nicest. You know what I mean? But that faded. Per our conversation, you know what I'm saying, last week, we know that faded.
That faded.
The desire to be the nicest. So I don't know what. I mean, is it your desire to be the most famous? Is it your desire to be the richest? Is it you know what I mean? That takes you up the bat after you've climbed that mountain and made it to the top. Is it your desire to stay on top? You see what I'm saying? Or especially if you get all the money that you're supposed to get. You see what I'm saying? Like, I think once you get all the money that you're supposed to get, you literally have to love doing it.
Right, you do. Because if not, you get you get so comfortable, you don't grow. You
Right.
don't you don't keep striving. Like this is important, right? My martial art teacher, he said that like I was injured one day, not injured to the point I couldn't fight, but like this is before going to the martial art class. I was like, yo, my arm is kind of sore from the last what. I didn't want to like hurt, damage anything permanently. I
Yeah.
was like, it's okay to still train. He said you should always be in a certain degree of pain
Mm.
to train. He said
Mm.
because it puts you in an uncomfortable
Yeah.
state. The moment you get comfortable, you get at ease, and then you lax up.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is like
Wow.
when the money come, like people get comfortable, they start splurging, they get, you know what I mean, you know how it go. you
Yeah, I know
know what I mean?
exactly how
But
it go.
yeah, but when you're not in the best state that you want to be in,
Yeah.
and you're still trying to get there, it's still something that keeps pushing you. Now, going back to the love of it, like when you get what you think you should have, the only way to keep growing and keep giving good quality work and stuff like that, number one, you got to be that type of artist that want to be that way, like
Mm-hmm.
a Kendrick or a Cole, right?
Mm-hmm.
But number two, you actually do have to love what you do, meaning you would be doing this whether it was money involved or not,
That's what I was
because
talking about.
all of
In
us
yeah.
was doing it before we ever got a dollar for it.
Right. That's one of the things that I was gonna bring up too. It's like if you love it, you would you if you really love it, it should be easier to do it. Barring the variables like wanting to sell records and these things, the things that start attaching themselves more to you once you're in the industry, you should do it for the same reasons that you know, that you were doing it before you started. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
I was making beats because I felt like I had something in me I had to get off.
Right,
You
right.
see what I mean? And I knew I could get it off, so I was, you know what I'm saying. So I felt an urgency to do so. You
Yeah.
know, it's funny though.
Mhm.
After a while, I guess I did get spoiled, and once I didn't have the situation that allowed me to get off the way I needed to, I couldn't do it.
Yeah, yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like not even that I couldn't do it. I didn't have the energy. I didn't want to. I didn't have the fervor to put myself in the most uncomfortable situation to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? By that point, but it had been years and years and years and years. But so I guess I can see both sides. I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I can see
Absolutely.
both sides.
But I wanted to speak back to something you said earlier, like what are the artists like striving for today? Is it to be the nicest, to be the richest, to be the most famous?
Yeah.
Like I actually think it's to the point where people are confused.
Mm.
Like Kendrick, you know from his control verse what his is. It's not to be the most famous, it's not to be the richest, it is to dominate
Right.
musically,
Right. Right.
which he does. So and it's clear. Now, but I'm saying the general, for the most of them, like they don't even know. It's like is they don't I don't think they know. Initially people have jumped in for the money. But
Yeah.
then everybody, like even people that's not good, saying they're the best. That just
Yeah.
became a thing just to say.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then it was like people, the whole clout chasing thing. People wanted that to be the thing. Like I'm more popular than you. Like so it's like I'm saying it's like just confusion really to me going on, and there's nothing clearly distinct, which to me feeds the point about creativity. If you're not doing it for the right reason, you don't really have a sincere, authentic, genuine love for making music, you'll get lost in the mix of all this music business, which is why a lot of the artists, even though they may have sold a lot of records and all of this, that, and the other, they in bad deals or bad situations, or
Yeah. Cause yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know if it's I don't know if it's enough artists jumping in it for the art no more. And
there isn't.
to sustain it though. You
Yeah,
see what I'm
yeah, yeah.
saying?
Right.
That's
Yeah,
what I'm
yeah,
saying. Like to
yeah. To
sustain it.
sustain it. Yeah, I agree.
You know, there was a conversation I was hearing. It may even have been on. I don't know what it was on. Joe Budden maybe, but they were saying something. Somebody was saying that when Kendrick, Cole, and Drake bow out for good, this whole thing is going to shift, and it's going to be bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because those are like the three top tier MCs that dominate lyrically and dominate sales wise and across the board popularity. You see what I'm saying? They got the trifecta. They got everything you could possibly want as an artist. You know.
Yeah.
But the Lord, when you start getting to the tiers under that, you start getting the talent quotient. They say start, and I think this conversation is less about the talent quotient though. I think below that level, I think those MCs are from a different era, and because they exist in this era, people forget. You see what I'm saying? Those MCs are from a different era.
They are.
And this next era, I think, has been completely bitten by social media, by clout, by appearing to have money, and we see that the majority of these artists can't possibly have this money because there's too many of them popping up in arguments with their labels.
Yeah, over money.
Oh, yeah, I'm in a bad deal. I want off this label. I mean, how many times have you heard that over the last in this last era compared in this new era compared to the last era?
Right, a lot
more, exponentially more. You know, so it lets you know that they signing for different reasons.
Oh yeah,
you see what I'm saying, and it's showing up faster. They realizing that they're not getting their bread faster than those back in the day were.
Right.
You see what I mean? Like back in the day, you see how long it took for artists to be like, "Yo, I got beat." But nowadays, if somebody signed to 300 a year and a half later, they're like, "I want out of here."
Right.
I mean, maybe this ain't on the myth of the starving artist, but
now,
I think
certainly a part of this of that conversation for sure.
You know, they starving for different things. That's the thing. They starving for different things. I don't know that what they starving for nowadays is as valuable. Matter of fact, I know it's not. What they starving for isn't as valuable. So when they get beat, it's really less for them to complain about.
Yeah, right. That and what they're starving for makes it easy for the label or the industry to beat them.
That's what I'm exactly. Exactly.
Because we're gonna give you the, the playthings and keep the real for ourselves.
And giving you the playthings or the props that you need to look like you winning.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So you get the clout, you get the playthings, you get the attention. You don't get none of the money though. You see what I'm saying? So all this stuff that you starving for is what they feeding you, but you starving for the wrong thing.
Yeah, attention. Yeah, I think the attention, you call it clout, but I mean it's nothing but ego.
It's all attention. Yeah,
it's attention seeking. Like with the population I work with, it's attention seeking behavior. That's a phrase we use a lot.
Yeah,
it's attention seeking behavior.
Yeah,
most
really
of the
is.
art.
Most of the
and
art.
It's so easy for the machine. Oh, that's what you want, attention? Cool, I can get you that. I can get you that. Easy.
That's all you want.
Yeah.
But the thing, that's all.
Your publishing and your masters.
Cause I'm keeping all of that, and you in the 360. So that attention that you getting paid for, I'm getting a percentage of that too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, come on, man. Hey, so the myth of the starving artist, right? A lot like our social justice conversation, bro. I think artists themselves perpetuate it. Once you start involving yourself with the industry. Now, saying that I was one, matter of fact, we perpetuate it once we start dealing with the industry too. Because we be so hungry that we'll take shorts and we'll take losses and some of us, even like myself, will do things without paperwork for work for hire, knowing that I should never do that.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Did it anyway because I wasn't gonna pass up this look, and I ain't got time to negotiate with y'all. Y'all offered this money, let's take it.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like, that's not smart. You know,
for the long run, especially.
Yeah, it's not smart for the long run. It's not smart for the short run.
Mm-hmm.
You have you have little control even if you do get all your paperwork right. If you don't have any of your paperwork right, you have absolutely no control. But you know what I'm saying? But I was starving for the opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So it
right. But even then though, right?
Yeah.
But the thing with you is about music. You love the music, so you wanted whatever placement.
Yeah, I wanted
that you had the opportunity because you was about making music because that's what you loved. Yeah. You wasn't necessarily chasing dollar, but this is here now. I'll take it, and it's a good look. So I get what you're saying, and I agree.
You know,
but I feel like the difference is between you and let's say who had problems with their label, Yachty, right? At one time, he was getting. I think it was.
No, Yachty didn't complain. Yachty
okay,
didn't complain.
It wasn't Yachty. Well, it must have been Uzi Vert, but between one
Vert,
of them,
yeah, Vert definitely complained.
Right. So, but I think your star. See, that's the thing. About starving for different things. You're really starving to make art or to get your art out there because you believe in your art,
right?
And you want others to hear the art,
right?
I don't. But if the other person is starving for money or attention. And that's a different type of starving. So, see, I think the further you go back, it sounds so funny. The starvation of the artist, it was all they had a common theme. They was all starving for the same thing because they all wanted to be the best tonight. They were really starving artists.
Right.
Like these, I think now it's like everyone's starving for multiple things. It's not about the art, although we're calling them artists, but they're starving for different things that is outside artistry.
Are they starving commodities?
That's what we should. Because I couldn't think of a name fast enough on my toes.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what it should be called.
Wow, starving commodities versus being a. Because I can see that.
Because the artists, if they were starving artists or they was artists at all, their approach to all of this would be a little different, and what they do when they get the look would be different.
Yeah. So, it keep boiling down to it sounding like we saying that the labels is almost right for beating them.
No, I'm not saying that. I get what you said, but I'm saying
I know you're not, but
right. But no, you know what it is. The reason why it seemed like that because what we're saying is the artist, at least for the artists right now, that they are responsible for the position they put themselves in because they have put the art second and starving for attention, likes, money first. If they was artists coming in the door, it would have been I don't think they would have landed in the positions that they're in or be in a position that would be so hard to get out of. Like if they was real, do you think if J. Cole or Kendrick just happened to be in a Uzi Vert type of situation, it would be more people coming to their aid. Like if people knew they was like artists and their art had something to help, you may get a look from a J to help boost you. Meek Mill. Like, you know what I mean?
Right. Like, and the crazy thing about that is though, you know, Jay came to Uzi Vert's aid. Yeah, like he gotta stop being Rap Jesus though.
I know, man. I know.
He's saving everybody, yo.
I know.
But I understand what you're saying. The crazy thing is like I agree. The only thing that makes me disagree is I know, and I know you know, that the business music is gonna do everything it can to beat that artist, whether their intent is to be a good artist or to get the attention. It's just when you do it, I think the line has to be drawn right now, and I think we need to let the people know that when you are the attention seeking, clout chasing type artist, you make it easier
to get beat.
Yeah. They trying to beat you, even if you Kendrick, even if you Cole, even if you see what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
Like if your aspirations, not that TDE is beating Kendrick or Rock Nation is beating Cole. It's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying if your aspirations are to be nicer or as nice or to be as great an artist, you know what I'm saying, or to show the prowess, that level of artistry. If that's your intent going into these labels, you still gotta know they trying to rob you for every dime.
Absolutely.
You see, they trying to get every
the business music.
They trying to get every nickel they can from you. You gotta know that they trying to keep you the starving artist.
Yeah. The only difference is they're trying to beat you either way, but the only difference is when they know that you are,
yes, sir.
When they know that you're starving for the attention, fame, and clout, all of that, then they know you're going to be more anxious or more prone to go for all they pump faking.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
They have to work a little harder. You know what I mean? They're going to still work on the Cole Kendrick, but we got to find new angles.
There you go.
Gonna be a little harder.
They might run a pick and roll. Instead of a simple head fake. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So but you gonna have to, you got to be on your P's and Q's, bro.
That's a fact.
You know what I mean? I don't know if I'd like to see what Kendrick and Cole contracts look like early.
I would too.
I could almost tell you what Drake contract looked like early.
What's that?
Huh?
What do you think?
It looked like a tube of KY. Man, that nigga was signed to Cash Money, man.
Oh man.
Yeah.
You already,
Yeah, you know what his contract looked like. Yeah. It's a wrap over there. But he got powerful, so he, you know what I'm saying? So he kept quiet.
He gained leverage.
He gained leverage.
So he could renegotiate.
Right. But and he's doing it, and that's what Steve and them was talking about. So independence in the starving artist.
I don't. So I think honestly, how the independents have gone, and I don't think there's a starving artist thematic within the community of the independent labels and artists. Because
you mean the true independents, not the boutiques.
The true independent, not the pseudo independent.
Okay, yeah.
The true independent, because those artists that are truly independent, right, and work with independent labels, they were seeing way more money off, album, dollar per dollar off albums than getting raped by the major companies you signed to Universal.
Right. If you're a truly independent artist and you and your team run your own ship and you make any level of success, then you're not getting beat.
Yeah.
Right? Because that money's coming to you. You're independent. Now, back in the day, we was black artists. I don't know a lot of stories about white artists because I didn't, you know what I'm saying? Like growing up, I don't know what they went through. But I know a lot of black artists. We got the same thing then from indie labels. Because, you see what I'm saying? They weren't ran by us. They were ran by lawyers and people that understood the record business. Mm-hmm. So we got Cadillacs. We got, there's a movie called Cadillac Records.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And we got Cadillacs and furs and nice houses and this stuff, but we didn't get no dough.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And those were
and no rights.
and no
So
rights. And no
right.
masters, no publishing, no rights. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And those were independent labels. Those weren't majors a lot of times. So I wanted people to. I agree that your chances of working with an indie is and not getting robbed, like a true indie, and not getting robbed, are higher than it is for you going with a major.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Because the major just got so much more leverage. You know. So
Yeah, true.
Yeah. Oh man. So did you read up about the Migos thing at all?
Uh, I did not, but I have. But I've heard extensively about it on various
Yeah.
platforms.
Platforms for sure. So the word is that the lawyer that they hired worked for the label.
Works. Yeah, right. Exactly.
And I told you about my story when I was out west, right?
Absolutely. You told me.
Yeah.
And
That
you didn't sign that contract either.
I didn't sign the contract, and I was like, "Yo, I'm not signing it because I don't have a lawyer. We need to get a lawyer. Me and AK.
Right. And he said, "Oh, that's no problem. But we got a lawyer."
We got a lawyer.
You said, "Nah, we want our lawyer to look it over."
There you go. There you go.
And that's what they should have.
And that's
said
and the
in
funny thing
beginning.
is, but you know what it made me think, and I'm not putting nothing on our lawyer. And a matter of fact, I'm not gonna say his name just because it may sound like I'm saying he did something foul. But after hearing the Migos situation, it made me think there was an integral part about our story when we got back from LA and we found a lawyer here in Raleigh, right?
Mm-hmm.
We went to him, we told him our situation, and I told you before, and for the Few Tang Clan, just to refresh, that lawyer got on the phone and made a phone call. And at the end of that phone call, he hung up and said he had talked to the vice president at Atlantic Records. And that person told him that there had been a bidding war for the music that we were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
See what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And that they had been given a $2 million retainer.
Mm-hmm.
Virgin gave our company, the company that was trying to hire us, a $2 million. Carl gave Carl a $2 million retainer to make sure he didn't sign with anybody else. And this is all based on music that me and AK produced.
True.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So we like, yo, we in a good position. This is my thought process looking back now, though, after hearing what happened to QC and just reprocessing this. We're in a good position. But if he can get on the phone and call the vice president of Atlantic, what makes me think that he's not friends with the person at Virgin?
Right.
What makes me think that he's on our side?
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? If he's that well connected on that side, that don't make no difference who I hire. He's been in that industry before me. Why is his loyalty to me?
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? He gonna make money with Virgin far after I'm gone.
Yeah.
He could potentially make money with Carl far after I'm gone. You see what I'm saying? So you still at the mercy of the person. You see what I'm saying? The person is supposed to be hired to help you. I mean, I'm not saying that's what happened. My hours didn't even go that far. So he didn't, I mean, I don't think he would have, but he didn't, you know what I'm saying? Hopefully, I pray he wouldn't have. But just knowing that he had that power, you got to think about what he could have done. We looking at it only to our advantage because we're the ones in the room with him.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? There's nothing to say that he couldn't have backdoored us. So even if the Migos did go get their own lawyer,
it still could have been the same scenario either way.
Yeah, I go get a not so powerful lawyer in Atlanta, and then go sit them in a room with P and Q. Really? Come on, man. Like, them powerful dudes got the power to sway that man and be like, look, dog, QC gonna be here. They're gonna be hot for 5 years tops. Do right by us. See what I'm saying? Like, that's a simple conversation. So it's like the myth of the starving artist. Like, you don't know where your starvation is gonna come from. Your prolonged starvation is gonna come from. You know, it's just hard to say, and I hate to scare the shit out of young listeners, but it's just something to be aware of.
Yeah.
Honestly, my suggestion is if you young and you ain't got a pot to piss in, and I mean, like most young artists, you're a true starving artist, and you building your team, especially if you in somewhere like North Carolina. I don't know what popping schools you would go to in other states, but if you're in North Carolina, man, run up on North Carolina Central campus and build a relationship with somebody that's in school for entertainment law, and y'all start to build together.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Build a relationship with somebody that's make it harder. Build a relationship with somebody that's it's harder for them to betray you.
Yeah.
They may still do it, but it's at least harder for them to do it. Don't make don't you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's something that I wish we'd have done. I think we'd have got farther if we'd have found a young, hungry lawyer just like, yo, let's go eat. We ain't got no bread. We give you this little bit we got. You know what I'm saying? If we'd have gave a young, hungry person the same amount we gave the lawyer that we paid, I guarantee you the younger dude would have worked twice as hard because it would have meant more to him. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's just things looking back, like the starving artist looking backwards.
Yeah.
You see things that maybe you avoided. You see things that you didn't avoid. You know.
Right. Yeah. Those are great points, man.
Yeah.
Great point.
I don't know.
Hindsight 2020.
Hindsight being 2020, yeah. Like, but maybe somebody listening to this is like, yo, you know what? I can go to Central and find somebody that's in law school. That's about, you know what I mean? That they might not have a connection in the world, but hell, they're gonna have to make them. The person that you hired had to make theirs.
Yeah.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
But at least you got one on your team. And like Big said, I got lawyers watching lawyers, so I don't go broke. You might have to go hire a lawyer, but at least you got one on your team that you trust that can watch this asshole.
Right. And just thinking about that, right? We may have to change it from myth of the starving artist to the myth of the starting artist. Those of us just starting out, because like you just said about that lawyer, he said he may not have a connection in the world, but he's going to have to make them.
Yeah.
So you have to, like, everyone's starting out.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? You're trying to make your way.
That was a 3-pointer. That was good.
3-pointer.
Yeah, bang. Yeah, myth of the starting artist. I like that, yo.
Yeah.
Yo,
because
that's
those
good.
starting out are the ones that's starving, because you have not yet, you haven't evolved to Drake level, so you don't have leverage to negotiate. So you are taking, essentially, you're taking the, you know what I mean, the not so best deals, or what you think is the best for you, or the best you can get at that time, right? Because you're just starting out. You know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah.
See, and that's a good way to frame this conversation, because I think part of this conversation was about labels keeping money from an artist to keep them hungry.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? That's more starving artist conversation.
Yes.
But the starting artist is how not to get beat, lessening your chances of getting beat up front.
Mm-hmm.
So that you don't have to become that starving artist.
Mm-hmm.
Because we all starving to a point at the beginning. So that starting artist, I think, is, you know what I mean, is easier on your soul.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because if you a starving artist and everybody around you know that you a starving artist, then for a while you are some level of a failure.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I understand.
You're not living up to your potential at some point. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
At that point. But if it's, so you're a starving artist. But if it's understood that you're a starting artist, then of course I'm not at my full potential yet, because I'm starting. I'm in this position. You see what I'm saying? Now, you know, and that it needs to be understood that starting position can last for 10 years.
Hell yeah.
I mean,
it can.
I'd hate that it could, if you know. But if you love it, you'll still be making music in 10 years anyway.
Yeah, that's true. So, yeah, you will.
So what? So you know,
Yeah.
if you love it, you'll still be making it in 10 years anyway. Hopefully, you won't be still starting. Hopefully,
Right.
you know.
Right. You gotta think. Jay-Z, when he did 444, he didn't do it because he was starving for money.
Mm-mm. Not at all.
He's at the point he just the reason I'm still even rapping at all is just because I have a love for the art of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. I don't need the money. And I have a million other different businesses and
Right.
entities to make money through. I don't have to rap
That's right.
and go tour to make money. Like, you know what I mean? So yeah, it's just to the point that if the person really loves it, regardless, 10 years from now, you still be doing music.
Yeah.
You still be making music if you love it.
Yep. If you love it, you'll be doing something with it. I mean, hell, look behind me.
Right.
I ain't trying to make it to sell it. I ain't trying to, you know what I'm saying? But
Right.
hell, if I know how to make it and I'm good at it, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah. Just naturally gonna find yourself in situations where you're just gonna be doing it.
Yeah, around it or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So it is that. It is
Yeah.
that. I don't know, man, but you think we did enough on the starving artist?
Yeah, man. I think we covered it, and we came up with some new revelatory information.
Yeah, I definitely revealed some things to me. This conversation did, just kind of thinking through things. I know we done with the starving artist, man, but we might need to spend a couple minutes on the 3 years before we get out of here.
Yeah. Before we get out of here, the 3 years. First of all, I'm so glad, and it's been an honor and pleasure working with my brother and longtime friend,
For sure.
John, on this podcast. You know what I mean?
Sure.
3 years in, 100 plus episodes in, and many more years to go.
We'll say it on this one just because it's like this is gonna be 145.
Okay,
Yeah,
145.
Yeah.
But I didn't even know when we had our original phone call that led to this podcast.
Right.
I didn't even really understand or know what a podcast was. But when you brought it up, I was just like, "Yo, let's do it."
Yeah, you was on. I was like, you was with it. I was like, "Yo, let's go." For sure, because I had at the time I had been telling my girl, you know what I'm saying, I wanted to do one. She had encouraged me to do it, and I was like, "Yo, I don't know how this gonna work or whatever, man." And we got on the phone and it hit me. I was like, "Yo, this my partner here. This my co-host. This is what." Yeah. So I shot you the idea. You was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Yo," and like you said, man, and I concur. And the feeling is mutual, bro. It's been an honor, bro, and it's been an honor and an absolute pleasure, bro.
Appreciate it.
I don't know if we could. I don't know if it would have worked if it had been me and anybody else. I definitely don't think it would have lasted 3 years. You see what I'm saying? Not for real, yo. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it takes somebody that's gonna stay as dedicated as, you know what I'm saying? Like we've been equally as dedicated to getting this show. You know what I'm saying? To getting it done. So it ain't nothing but up from here though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
Keeping it popping, keeping it
moving.
Yeah,
absolutely. Man. I honestly think content wise, I think we have one of the best podcasts, hip hop podcasts that really goes into different themes, concepts, albums, whatever's going on in and around the hip hop community.
Yeah.
I think we have one of the best that deals with these topics.
I do too, man, and I'm proud of the fact that we not trending, and we not pop culture, and I think it's one of the best because even if you listen to an hour of our conversation and as a listener you don't get nothing, you don't hear new information, or you don't, hopefully what you heard is a different way to think about a topic that's been around you your entire life and your entire time listening to hip hop.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? It's like it's a broader way to think about what's the music that you listening to. Mm-hmm. It's not just what's hot. It's not just who's better. It's not just, you know what I'm saying? It's deeper than that.
Yeah, way deeper. I just want to say, we've done stuff. Like, this is what sets our podcast to me aside from different things, right?
Okay.
We've tackled topics that no one has been able to tackle and resolve. We've saw, I'll put it like this, we've solved hip hop problems that I ain't heard nobody solve.
That's true.
Everyone argues about the whole ghostwriting and blah blah blah, right? We actually found the origin that we think created the stigma of ghostwriting in hip hop.
That's true.
And pinned it down.
That's true.
We've done that on multiple times. We're like, you know what I mean? Mystery solvers of like hip hop, you know what I mean? Puzzles.
That's true.
Like,
that's
a
true,
lot of
bro.
stuff that we brought like and put together that I ain't never heard anyone put together.
And the reason we able to put it together, bro, is because we sit down and have the conversations.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? We not just talking about the surface of hip hop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you can't talk about hip hop for 3 years and not do trending topics without going beneath the surface.
Yeah, yeah.
You see what I mean? Like it's a deeper level of. Sometimes it's a deeper level of understanding. Sometimes it comes from a lack of understanding, and we just be trying to get to it. You know what I mean? But, bro, I'm proud of us, and I'm looking forward to the next 3. You know what I mean?
Right.
And beyond. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and beyond.
And beyond. But yeah, like Hustle said, from July to June end.
Yeah. Shout out to Hustle.
Yeah, for sure. And for everybody that's listening to the show, that's been listening, if you hear a slight format change, you don't hear Hustle at the beginning of the episodes, you stick with us. You can definitely get him at the end. You see what I'm saying? Because we on YouTube every week now, so we start the episode a little more urgently. You know what I mean? You get Conversate for a few, you get the tag, and you get us going straight to it. You know what I mean?
Right.
But at the end, we still show Hustle some love. You know what I mean? Because that's a beautiful piece of work he put together for us for the theme.
It was,
music.
man.
You know what I mean?
Perfect.
So, yeah, man. But if that's all we got for this one, bro.
Yeah, I think this one's a wrap.
Yeah, it's a wrap. All right, man. Well, shoot. As usual, we're gonna ask y'all to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at ConversateForAFew. Make sure you hit the subscribe. Make sure you hit the like. And that's on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify. Rate the show. Leave comments here. Leave comments there. Let us know what you think. Let us know what we missed. Stay tuned for the limited edition Few Tang Clan merch. It's coming. I promise it's coming. And it's gonna have empty TDKs and Max sales on Sony's and all and such in there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
To hook y'all right up.
Hook y'all right up. But with that being said, I'm Jonna.
I'm Allan. This was not a podcast about classical music.
Absolutely was not. This is a podcast about hip hop. Make room for the tag.
Conversate for a few.
Hustle, welcome. Man, they had to send me. Hustle from Raleigh, live from NC with your hosts, John and Allan. Relate to the two. You are now listening to Conversate for a Few. Check it on SoundCloud, debate with your crew. They talking hip hop from the late to the new. From July till June end. No Fridays for me. Tune in. Please listen to this podcast. 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 Please listen to this podcast.